Hey everybody, for today's ramble, back into the style of rambles here, I am not going to put the name of Charlie Kirk in the title because I'm not trying to attract people who are just looking for more discussion on Charlie Kirk. I discussed it in my previous video, and this is just a video about a video, and I'm not trying to, clickbait people. So, what I will say is that I talked about who Charlie Kirk really was, and I got a comment from someone saying, "My approximately 14-year-old subscription is withdrawn." And you can see my response to that on that video in the comments. My next message was without even stating why, but thanks for watching so long. And their response was, "All murder should be utterly condemned, not danced around like a swivel-eyed flabbertigibbet. Don't be daft." And I had a whole day to think about that. And I'm just going to say that I have space within my mind to hold two things to be true at the same time. That what this shooter, Tyler Robinson, did to shoot and kill Charlie Kirk was horrible, bad choice, shouldn't have been done, very illegal, and also, just because Charlie Kirk died horrifically in a way that shouldn't have happened, doesn't mean that we just airbrush who he was as a person. And my video was explicitly against the airbrushing, not in favor of shooting and killing people because you politically disagree with them. I'm a therapist. I believe people can change, and one of the ways people can change is through debate. Now, do I think that Charlie Kirk, in good faith, entered debates? No, not really. But there was still a chance, even entering in bad faith into those debates, that he could have changed and became a better person should he have been able to live longer. But a lot of the things that he is known for having stance on are actually stances that are politically violent against other people. This term political violence has been thrown around a lot this week, and it means more than just shooting or beating people or whatnot. Political violence is, when you have one type of people trying to remove civil rights from another type of people with their rhetoric. I've also heard the term stochastic terrorism being thrown around, where just because you aren't the person who actually pulled a trigger or did any of the physical violence doesn't mean that you aren't part of the violence, because it could have been reasonably assumed that somebody would have carried out the gist of what you were saying. And so then it's basically starting a riot counts as stochastic terrorism if you weren't actually part of the riot. And, January 6th comes to mind in particular, where Trump was trying to distance himself from all of the violence that ensued at the Capitol, but he spoke to those people just before that. When I see this term, all murder should be utterly condemned, it's not outside of the context of the political realm of the United States when we're talking about Charlie Kirk, who spoke about so many political issues. And right now, we just recently saw that, Israel, the state that we really support in the Middle East, just assassinated the prime minister and like the entire cabinet of Yemen, and instead of owning up to this political assassination, they tried to paint that regime as being the terrorists, and the old regime that they ousted as being the official and recognized by Israel and U.S. regime. But it was a political assassination, And at a more base level, look, dude, I am a veteran, a military veteran, and to tell me that all murder should be utterly condemned, except for when your country says, hey, look at those people over there, those people don't fall underneath that premise of, all murder, because this is war, and we've now we've painted those people with a term that makes them othered. They don't have the same rights, And not for nothing, Charlie Kirk wanted to add more people to the list of people that didn't have rights. Like, he wanted to remove all people's visas if they were immigrants and just deport them away. And, if stuff happens to them in the countries that we destabilized in the first place and they sought refuge in our country to get away from, then, oh well, so be it. Because he's all about not giving a shit about brown people. And I can really boil it down to that. Anyways, I will say that I don't recommend anybody to pick your own political target and do political violence against them. Not shooting, not, what happened to Senator Pelosi's husband with the hammer. No physical violence, no burning their Teslas, none of that. I don't recommend it at all, ever. But to say that all murder should be utterly condemned, I mean, classically here on YouTube, you'll find people arguing, should you go back in time and kill baby Hitler? It was a whole Doctor Who episode, But you're probably in the wrong if you had to make the decision on your own without a consensus, And you're probably also wrong if a consensus comes to it, really. What my problem with that statement is that it's a bringing back of people to the table and saying, hey, look, quit talking about how bad of a person he was. He was killed, and so now you have to come back to this place where we get to airbrush everything he ever done and call him a martyr and a true patriot and whatnot. And no, it's not something that I want to see. Is him to be remembered as a good person. You can both think that his death was bad and he was bad at the same time. And largely, I feel like having a president who embodies narcissism so much and gaslights us so much about things and breaks rules all the time and then says, oh, well, I can break that rule. It's part of my purview as president, when it's completely new thing. It's breaking precedent, and it's against, he'll just go against Supreme Court rulings. He'll do things in ways that nobody's ever done before. He'll steal a whole nomination of a Supreme Court justice by changing the rules of under Obama. Oh, in the last year it's like too political, it's too close to the election. But then when it comes to him doing it at the end of his term, oh no, we're going to get this justice in right away. And basically, we have one more conservative Supreme Court justice, because whatever fits, whatever they want to do, they're going to do it. And they just keep on breaking rules. But then they want to bring you back to the table and say, oh, well, let's forget about how we broke the rules and let's actually act it like we're civil people again. And no, I'm expecting a lot more political violence to happen. And when it comes to like who is at fault for Charlie Kirk's murder, right? Am I blaming Charlie Kirk? Am I blaming the victim in this by saying he was a bad person? No. I think that the person at fault is not Charlie Kirk spewing his hateful views. It's not Democrats who point out when people sound like Nazis. If you don't want to be pointed out for sounding like a Nazi, just don't sound like a Nazi. Don't share perspectives that they had. But also, I think that where I would have gone with painting the blame on this was also wrong. Like, I was wrong in the first days after this in connecting it to how people feel politically that they don't have any more say because of, say, gerrymandering, right? So I was going to put the blame on, like, okay, if people in Texas cannot have representation at the same level of their, population, and then California the same thing. Like, I'm saying what California is doing in retaliation just as bad here, because it's creating in Texas Democrats who feel like their vote doesn't matter. And in California, it's creating Republicans who feel like their vote doesn't matter. And in both states, you'll find those disaffected people willing to do something to make their voice heard, right? And in the aftermath of all the investigation into who the shooter was, finding out that he was like an incel groper, and that his point of view might have actually come from the far right that thinks that Charlie Kirk and Trump are too liberal, and that he was dating a trans person in this weird groper incel way, where they actually hate women so much that one of them has to be feminized in order to like have a relationship between two incels, and just the memes that were etched on the bullets, on the casings, that were just internet groper talk, and the lack of a manifesto, which holy shit, we need better education in our country, because maybe he could have left us like something saying why he did it, right? And so like I put all of the blame on the shooter, but I'm not saying that we fully understand it. As far as like, could we prevent this from happening in the future? The scary thing is, the only thing I think that you could do yourself personally to not have what happened to Charlie Kirk happen to you, because it could happen to people on the left or the right? This political violence. The only thing you can do is not get famous for your political views. Like, I feel like the shooter shot Charlie Kirk because he was famous for those views. And anyone could have a view and become famous for it. And, yeah. In hindsight, if I were to look at, like, the top 10 people in America that don't have Secret Service security details, but maybe should, like, the president should be able to extend it to, like, another 10 people in order to keep some people safe, I would have said Charlie Kirk was top 10. Needs more security. And so, why would I say that he was top 10? Popular for his beliefs. And that's just terrible. You know, to think that the only thing you can do to prevent something like this from happening to you is actually just don't be so loud that you are known for beliefs that a lot of people find disgusting. That's wow. Because, you know, on both sides of the aisle, you're going to find people on the other side that find someone's views disgusting, no matter what they are. So, yeah, the answer cannot be just nobody get popular, you know. Yeah, I don't think that this is something that would get a person of approximately 14 years of subscription to me to resubscribe if what they were wanting for me is just to outright say that, oh, this was a horrific murder, and just gloss over and whitewash the context in which it happened. Because I'm not going to do that, you know. But yeah, I feel like this is another one of those moments where if you have grown as a person in the more than a decade since Trump has been a thing politically, then you've gone through that time with cullings of your friends and people who talk to you, because you've come across issues that were never a thing before, and you've had to have these kinds of conversations where people decide, you know what, you're not the same person that I knew back in the day. You've come to a new understanding that I don't agree with anymore, and I'd rather unfriend you and unsubscribe you and unfollow you, and that's okay. I completely admit that I am not the same person that I was 14 years ago. There's a few people online that I might owe apologies to, because I was so nasty to them 14 years ago. And I'm not the same person. A lot of people who maybe followed me 14 years ago for who I was back then didn't grow with me on the same path that I was growing. I think I'll stop there.